The learning Zila Nishmas Etta Ahuva Bas Yaakov Maseches Nazir Perek Dalid Mishna Dalid Ha'isha Shenodja ben Nazir v'Hefisha Es Behemta. If the Isha who was a Nazir already was mafresh her behemoths in order to bring at the end of her Naziris Taira v'Achar Kach Hefer La Baila, and now the Baal is Mayfair, so now she's no longer Mechuyev in these karbanas. So what do we do with the animals that she was mafresh? So the Mishnah says it depends. Im shaloi haisa behemta, if the animal didn't belong to her, it was her husband's animal. So then, since he's made for it, so it turns out that this animal was never, it was hektish b'tois. It should never have been hektish, and therefore it's chulin. And the halacha is teitze v'tir be'eda. You could just put it back with the rest of your animals in your flock. It's regular chulin. But im shalahaisa behemta, if the animal belonged to her, and how does an animal belong to her? Everything kol mashakana isha kana baila. So the Gemara says in one of two ways: either that she was made extra maisi adayim and she had extra food mezainis from what she got from her husband, and she used that money to get an animal, or someone gave her a present amanash ein lebaila rishus behen, which Taisus explains, we had this in the Darim, that he also would have to say that I'm only giving it to you once you put it into your mouth. So then it's hers and it doesn't go to her husband. So in such a case that it's her animal, so now the hegdish is chal, and now that she can no longer bring it, so it will be like a carbon that the bailam was meso. So there's no longer a chiyuv to bring this carbon. So then it depends which carbon. So there's three carbonas that a Nazir Tahira brings. She brings, or every Nazir brings, a kivsa for a chatas, a keves for an oila, and an ayil for the shlamim. So the chatas is tamas, because that's halacha Moshe Misina. Chatas shmeisa b'ayla is tamas. The oila is tikar oila. You could bring it for oilas nadava. Hashlamim, so it's going to have the chumrah of shalmi nazir. Tikar of shlamim and nechelu yom echad. It's only nechelu yom echad as opposed to regular shlamim. Ve'ein tunan lechem, but you don't bring the lechem of a shalmei nazir. The Mishnah continues. Hayula ma'istumas. Let's say she wasn't mafresh an animal, but she was mafresh money. Yipul nedava. So that money goes to the mizbeach, the money that they'll use for other oilers on the mizbeach. And the Gemara asks a question over here, that since there's three karbanas, the chatas, the shlamim, and the oilos, in this money is also the mechatas. And by chatas, the halacha we said is that you can't be makriv that for an oila. So the Gemara says, to terutzim, Rabbi Yochanan says it's a special halacha Moshe Sinai by Nazir, and Rish Lakish says it's exeris hakasef. The Mishnah continues, but if the money was not stumim, in other words, she had specified, it was mais mufarashin, in two lashonos in the Gemara, either, it's not only if she said, Elu l'chatasi, Elu l'ilasi, Elu l'shlamim, even if she said, Elu, these money is for chatasi, ilasi, and shlamim, or according to the second lashon, even if she just says, Elu l'chavasi, so she's specifying, so then you have to look at it, that in this money is three types of money, so then you have to separate it, and the demei oila is the mechatas is yelchel yam hamelech. It goes into the yam hamelech. So now, once it's in the yam hamelech, it's not kudshim, so there's not going to be any meila on it. But lechatchilu you can't have ana, like the Mishnah says, leinen v'loy moyelim behen. Chatchilu you can't have ana, but there's no isim meila. The mei oila yaviu oila umoyelim behem. That's like regular oila, where the halacha is that there is meila, and you would bring a carbon meila if you're moyel. And the mei shlamim yaviu shlamim. Over there, of course, there's no me'ila, because by Kadshe Kalam there's no me'ila, except for the Emurim La'achar Zrikas Damim. V'nechalin l'yayim echad ve'inan tunan lechan, like we said before, it has the chumrah of a shalmi nazar, that it's only an echad for one day, but you don't bring with it the lechem like you bring by a shalmi nazar. Mishnah Hey. Nizak aleh echa min adam. So we're talking about this Isha again that was Nadjar ben Nazir, and over here, not only was she mafresh the carbon, they actually did the zrika. So then, after, this is going to be three shittas in the Mishnah. So according to the Tanakama, only after the zrika, once the zrika is already done, now it's too late to be made for anymore. Any yachal. Why? Because at that point, the Tanakama held that she's now allowed to drink wine, as opposed to, there's a different shita that we'll get to later in the Masech, that Eliezer holds a taglacha, says ma'akva, until the Nazir cuts his hair, he's aser b'yayin. But this Tanakama held that as soon as the zrika is done, the Nazira, she's mutter b'yayin, and since she's mutter b'yayin, it's not considered neder v'ina nefesh anymore, so now he can no longer be made for it. Rabbi Akiva Omer, the second sheet, but by the way, the Taisa speaks out, according to that, it would come out that, let's say, a second before the Zrika, he could be made for, even though it's only a second left, that's considered Inay Nefesh, because Lamaisa, even for that second, she's Aser B'yayin. But once it does the Zrika, then she's Muteris B'yayin, now it's no longer Inay Nefesh, and he can't be made for. The second sheet in the Mishnah is a Rikiva. He says even earlier, even Nishchata Aleh Achas Mikol Behemoth Eini Yachal Haver, even from the time of the Shechita, he can no longer be made for. And the reason is for a different reason, even though it's still Inay Nefesh, because she's still Aser B'yayin, but we don't want him to be mefer, because if he's mefer, then this carbon is going to go lebeis hasreifa. And the Gemara explains, we're talking about dafka the chatas, the oil and the shlamim, there will be eitzes, but by a chatas shaloi l'shma is psula. So since the chatas will be causing, you'll be causing the chatas to go lebeis hasreifa, we don't allow him. We tell him not to be mefer. But if he is mefer, Taisus speaks about it, what the halach is. But taglachas hatuma yafer. This is only if by a Nazir Tahira at the end of the Nazir's Tahira. But if it's at the end of the Nazir's Tameya, I know she was a Nazir Tahira and then she became Tameh and she's bringing her Karbanas of Tumah, then he could be made for, because he doesn't want her to, still has another 30 days of Nazirus and he doesn't want her to become a Nazir. This is a Chayr Pasha. I don't want to deal with the Isha that's Menuvelis, that's going to have long hair. But leading up to the third sheet in the mission, which is Rabbi Yomer, Af Petagachas Hatayra Yafer, even after the Zrika, but it's before she had her haircut, he could still be made for her. There's no Inay Nefesh, because she's allowed to drink wine. So like the Mishnah, if she's in his Nazir, now she's going to be mechuyev to have a haircut, she's going to have to take a 000 haircut. He could say, I'm not interested in her walking around with a baldy haircut. And the Tanakama held that this is not a taina, because she could wear, the Gemara explains, because she could wear a wig, a peyonachas. And the Achronim debate from here whether this is a raya that Isha is allowed to wear a sheitel.